Hey everybody, my name is Lisa and I'm the Crafty Goddess. Hello and welcome. There is a yarn tag going around this neck of the woods. Of course I'm talking about YouTube. Krystal over at Bag-O-Day Crochet has come up with a fun interactive thing for us fellow fiber enthusiasts to get involved with. As we know, anybody who watches Krystal at Bag-O-Day Crochet knows that she is very in touch with her community. She keeps it interactive. She even gives shout outs to smaller YouTubers, maybe not as well known. She's, I think, at the 500,000 sub mark, if not higher. I honestly don't remember, but she, has decided that in these strange times that we're facing right now, she wanted to put together something interactive and fun for us fellow YouTube yarn addicts, I guess you can say. And it's a 10-question yarn tag. I was recently tagged by Krystal The Yarny Chicken and Crazy Cat Lady. Hi Krystal! I know there's a lot of Krystals going around in the yarn community, and that's awesome. But Krystal The Yarny Chicken and Crazy Cat Lady was tagged by somebody she knows, so she did her responses to the 10-question yarn tag and passed the baton on to me and a few other people. So thank you, Krystal. Thank you, both Krystals, actually, for making this community fun, interactive, and kind of a voyage of discovery, I guess, to see what our likes and dislikes are, the usual. But yeah, thank you so much for tagging me in this and for making me feel part of this awesome creative community. This is so cool. So I got the questions here. I will submit my tags at the end of the video because I got a few people that I'd like to tag as well. Yeah, see what your questions are. All right, question number 1. What is your favorite color of yarn? This was a bit of a hard call for me. See, when I first started knitting, gosh, about 15, 16 years ago. No, when I first started knitting, it was when I was 10 years old, and I didn't know what I was doing, so I don't count that. When I restarted, I gravitated towards a lot of red and black because my wardrobe is mostly reds and blacks. But as I found out, if you're knitting with black yarn and you drop a stitch or something happens and you're not, sorry, my nose is like super, super itchy. I don't know why. As soon as I get in this room, the air is so dry, just anyway. But yeah, knitting with black can be a bit of a pain in the butt, especially if you're an inexperienced knitter and you're not aware of any mistakes you might be making. I mean, I still make mistakes now, but when I was, fresh into this whole thing and starting to knit, and if I dropped a stitch, I was screwed because it's black. You can't see what you're doing. So I would say lately I've been gravitating towards a lot of, yes, hi husband. Sorry, I've got my phone on, so there might be some dings and beeps in the background. I've been gravitating towards a lot of purples and greens, and if it's a purple and green mix, look out. I think I've got some on the shelf, actually. I can see some purples and greens behind me. But yeah, purple and or green or a combination thereof. Oh, look, there's some more purple. Well, there's a mix of purple, but yeah, it's kind of one of my happy color combinations. Purple is a very positive color, very uplifting. It's the color of the 7th chakra. Sorry, cat hair. Blech. And green is the color of like the heart chakra. It's very positive, energetic. Anyway, I won't get into the semantics of that. But question number 2. What is your favorite weight of yarn? My go-tos are mostly either a 4 or a 5, like either a worsted or a bulky weight. Worsted, because it's so versatile, you can use it for anything, and most worsted weights are laundry friendly anyway. Bulky weights like a weight of 5, like where you need like a 6 or a 6.5 millimeter needle or crochet hook, comes in so handy, especially in the winter time. I find in the winter, like closer to Christmas and the holidays and whatnot, I love the instant gratification projects like the big bulky cowls and hats and that sort of thing. I like making stuff that will make your neck sweat when it's like minus disgusting outside. Here in the southwestern Ontario region, we get kind of a sort of wannabe pretend winter until like late January, February, and then it just plummets to like, you know, Arctic insanity. But yeah, I'd say 4 or 5 for sure. I'm sorry to be so ambivalent and give like 2 answers to one question, but yeah, those are my mainstays, either worsted or bulky. Number 3. What is your favorite style of yarn? Now, when I first saw that, I thought, okay, does that mean how the yarn is spun? Is it like self-striping versus ombre? It still, to me, seems a bit of an ambivalent question, which is great because then that means you can give more than one answer to this question as to the different styles of yarn you prefer. I do... Now, as far as like how it's spun, I mean, I don't mind a marled yarn. Like this would be a great example of a marled yarn. You got like different colors, sorry, your woods, as it's sitting there. You got different colors kind of spun into one thread, and it can yield a lot of variety with whatever projects you're doing. I kind of like that. But I have to admit, sometimes I can be a bit of a lazy knitter. I like a self-striping yarn or an ombre yarn because, again, you got some really cool color combinations happening. And for those of us who are making projects that we may not have the time or patience to weave in all those little annoying little ends, you know what I'm talking about, right? So I do like a nice self-striping yarn. I like the ombre yarns. Color change is great. Marled, definitely. But as far as like how it's spun, I don't know. I can't really give an answer. I know I'm not as fond of roving. Like, depends on the style of yarn. Hang on a second. Like, the Lion Brand Landscapes yarn, I don't even know if these colorways or this yarn in particular is being made anymore. It's a good, you know, I think it's a worsted. Yeah, it's a 4. It's a worsted weight yarn. But it's such a pain in the butt. I'm trying to burn through it as much as possible. Excuse me. So I can get rid of it. Because, yeah, like it's a 1-ply, it's kind of a roving. And another thing about this is when you put it through the wash, it's going to look like crap. So just, yeah, that's my not favorite type. I mean, the colors are great, but number 4, question number 4. What is your favorite fiber of yarn? There are a lot of varieties with acrylic yarn. Like there's a lot of really cool different types of acrylics that I've been able to work with. I like working with wool because it gives a really nice stitch definition, but for persons who have a fiber sensitivity, it might not be so much fun to work with or wear. But I hate to sound like your basic you know what, but I do like a lot of acrylic based yarns. But I'll tell you something, I'm a sucker for a nice superwash merino. I'm just gonna say it's a lot of fun to work with. Yes, it does have a natural fiber content to it, but it's not as irritating. So yeah. Number 5. What is your favorite brand that you can get easily within your country? Well, I live in Canada, so the yarn market is flooded with Bernat, Pattons, that sort of thing, which is great. Again, and they yield a lot of different acrylic yarns, as I was saying in the previous question as to favorite fiber. They have a lot of fun yarns, like in the acrylic family that you can play with. But I've been going a little bonkers over Lion Brand. If anybody's been watching this channel for any length of time, you'll know that I love using particular types like Shawl and a Ball. Heartland's another good one. And I can find those usually within like craft stores, stores that sell yarn, like Len's Mill, Walmart, that sort of thing. And it's funny because the different stores in Guelph that also happen to sell yarn that aren't specifically known for being yarn stores, they all carry different types of Lion Brand yarn. And it's kind of funny. I know that Michael's and Len's Mill both carry Heartland and Shawl and a Ball, but Len's Mill carries more of the newer colors, whereas Michael's doesn't. But then you go to, say, Walmart, and it carries like the ice cream cotton blend, but none of the other ice cream yarns, whereas Len's Mill has ice cream big scoop, and then Michael's has the ice cream big scoop, but it has the roving. So it's all like different types. It's kind of fun, actually. You hit different stores and you get different types within the same company name. So yeah, I hate to cop out to something that isn't based in Canada, but Lion Brand, that seems to be my go-to. And by the way, they're not sponsoring me. I'm not getting any kickback. I really like using their stuff. Lion Brand Homespun, amazing to work with. I love it. It's great for shawls and ponchos. Okay. Question number 6. What is your favorite brand that is not easy to get within your country? That's kind of a tough one. My first answers, and again, I'm so sorry for giving 2 answers to one question. Either Premier Yarns. I can't find too many Premier Yarns in any of the stores here, if any. I think Len's Mill here in Guelph carries the Premier self-striping, I forget what the name of it is, but it's like a self-striping worsted weight yarn. It'll come to me. Middle-aged brain fog just kicked in. I had the name until I decided to bring it up. Now it's like, I don't know. But other stores here don't carry premium. I think Len's Mill is the only store I recognize. I've realized, sorry, that carries Premier. So if I want to get it, I'll go to Aberdeen Wool, as I based a previous video on, where I ordered a bunch of Premier yarn from Aberdeen Wool. Or, you know, if I have to go to the website itself, fine. But either Premier or another one is Noro. If anybody is familiar with Noro, if not, they're a Japanese yarn company. They are very ethically sourced. A lot of it is fiber-based, a lot of wools, cottons. I think there's some linen blends in there as well. And there are no stores in Guelph that do carry them. There is one yarn store here in Guelph that used to carry Noro, but doesn't anymore. I don't know why. So if I want to get Noro yarn, I either have to order it through an online company or go to a place in Toronto called Romney Wool. They're on Queen Street West. Way past Augusta. Obviously I don't live in Toronto. I spend a lot of time on the west end of Queen Street because I got some really cool like yarn and bead shops. But if I want to make a day of it, I'll hit up Romney Wool and scoop up some Noro while I'm there. It's not easy for those of us who don't live in a city with a yarn shop that carries it. So hopefully that answers that question. So that was question number 6. Question number 7. It's kind of a two-parter. Favorite yarn store online and favorite brick and mortar yarn store. So I think I kind of just answered that with the favorite online store. I really like Aberdeen Wool. They charge a $5 flat shipping rate. Doesn't matter how much or how little you order. It's a $5 flat rate across the board. And the customer service is incredible. I know people who have been to the shop in Lindsay, and they say that the staff is super friendly, very knowledgeable. It's a cute shop. One of these days, I do want to make somewhat of a weekend trip up to the Muskokas so I can visit for myself. You know, when things are okay to be open and, you know, that sort of thing. For those of you who don't know, Ontario is in a 3rd shutdown now. I'm not going to get into it because it'll just make me wring my hands and swear, but yeah, maybe someday when things get calmed down enough where I can actually visit stores and get some cool crafting stuff in person. But yeah, Aberdeen and favorite yarn store online. I also really like Hobie, now that I know it's pronounced Hobie. They, again, you just saw my video from like a couple days ago. They're a company in Denmark, and I get my stuff within a week. I mean, from Denmark. It's really cool. And I know that some of the yarns can be a little pricey, but if there's a great sale going on, and there is a good sale going on right now on the website, you can get some fairly pricey yarns for a better price than you originally planned. Yeah, again, the customer service is super awesome. Yeah, I would have to say those are my favorite online stores. I haven't shopped too much with other online shops. I mean, I've done a bit with Mary Maxim, and they're cool. I mean, I can always go up and visit if I really wanted to, again, when, you know, restrictions allow. Favorite brick and mortar store? Now, this is going to be a two-parter because there is a shop that I like to buy my yarn at that's not known to be a yarn shop, but it is a store that is known for selling yarn, fabric, crafting goods, and that is, of course, Len's Mill Store. I've already mentioned them in a previous question. They've got 11 locations across Ontario. I used to work at the one here in Guelph, and you know, retail woes aside, it's a big store. It's, you know, fairly comprehensive. Their fabric section is massive, and they have their own yarn room. I love going in there. I love browsing through. Unfortunately, because we are in a shutdown, stay-at-home order, we can only do like ordering online or curbside pickup, that sort of thing, which is fine. I completely understand the precautions. But when the store is open, I do like to go in. And sometimes my husband comes in with me because he likes to do fabric refinishings for like guitar bodies and whatnot. And so he goes off and has fun in the fabric section, sorry, and I'll be skipping around the yarn section, and we make a day of it. So, yeah. Number 8, question number 8. Do you keep scrap yarn, and if so, what do you do with it? I have, I guess it's 2 categories of scrap yarn, like the odds and ends that you get at the end of a knitting project where you've got like maybe half a little ball or just a little collection or whatever. I do keep my scrap yarn. I keep it to make either like little stuffed animals or, as I call them, scrap gans. There's a scrap gan that I'm working on right now that I started working on last year when my husband and I were in quarantine. It was a pattern that I found through the Jada and Stitches YouTube channel, and it's just basically you cast on a certain amount of stitches. It's crochet, by the way. You chain a certain number of stitches, and then you take 2 different weights of yarn or 2 different colors, like one light, one dark, that sort of thing, because it gives off a really cool effect. And you just do like a half double crochet all the way through, just back and forth, back and forth. And it's coming up really nice. I think it's about yay wide now, but the only reason it's that wide is because I've been working on other stuff. So, but I like to do that. I use stuffed animals, and then hopefully I don't knock anything over. I started collecting the little bits and pieces when you're done, say, sewing up a project or seaming, like, say, a hat or wrist warmers or whatever. I used to just clip the little ends and throw them away, but now, sorry, my phone just shut off. Okay, there we go. I started collecting them. There were a couple of YouTubers I saw. Unfortunately, I don't remember the names. Again, brain fog. And they suggested saving those clippings that you can use for stuffing, for stuffed projects, little amigurumi, whatever. And it's such a great idea. I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, because my first thought was, well, how much yarn have I been throwing away that I've just been snipping off the ends of, like, after seaming up a hat or something and just tossing it. So I started saving that. I've got quite the pile up, as you can see there, and I intend on using it as stuffing for future projects. So it's sustainable, it cuts down on waste, and you can always use it. So that is the answer for question number 8. Question number 9. What is your favorite thing to crochet or knit? Now, I'm more of a knitter. I dabble in crochet. I would say my favorite thing to knit is accessories. I love making hats, wrist warmers, scarves, cowls, socks, like smaller projects. Some of them can be more time intensive. Some of them can be instant gratification. But, well, I'd say most accessories are instant gratification, especially in the wintertime. They're always needed. Somebody's always losing a scarf or a hat, whatever. I started knitting a pile of hats, which you can't see, because I like to knit up hats and scarves and then drop them off at like different drop-in centers or whatever downtown that may need them, because, you know, I don't know the story of somebody's life and how they went up on the streets, but that's not going to stop me from being kind and giving something to hopefully help keep them warm. So, and yeah, as I said, I can't emphasize enough, I do like instant gratification projects. I've got piles of wrist warmers just, you know, up the wazoo right now because that's all I've been able to do is knit stuff. All the festivals I usually go to and shows that I vend at have been postponed indefinitely because of this pandemic, which, again, I thoroughly understand. But, you know, my stock is piling up. That's all I'm saying. But I do love knitting those. As far as things to crochet, I don't dabble as much with crochet. I'm still doing the flat projects like shawls and whatnot. So I'm saying right now my favorite thing to crochet is shawls. They're a lot of fun, especially with different color changing yarn. And crochet seems to go a little faster than knitting. Like knitting takes a little bit more time, which it's fun. You know, you see the results as you go, but crochet whips up a lot faster. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with different shawls, especially patterns that I get from the Fiber Spider. Watching his tutorials is just, you feel so relaxed and at ease. Even for someone like me who didn't start crocheting a lot until last year, I follow his tutorials and just, yeah, it's amazing. He's such a wonderful guy. I haven't seen him much on YouTube lately either, so I'm hoping that everything's okay. I hope he's doing well, and I miss seeing his smiley face and his Happy Meal videos. I hope everything's all right. Number 10, question number 10, last but not least. Number 10. If you could crochet or knit one last thing for the rest of your life, what would it be and what yarn would you use? Oh man. I don't know. This is a tough one. Sorry, let me grab a drink. I'm thirsty as heck. You shouldn't be drinking those energy drinks. I haven't had coffee today, so I need something to wake me up. If you could crochet or knit one last thing for the rest of your life. I'm going to split up in two again for crocheting and knitting. If I was going to knit something for the rest of my life, I would want to knit... I'd have to stick with accessories. Because, as I mentioned previously, there's always somebody who needs maybe an extra layer, hat, wrist warmers, something to... you know, an extra layer without the big bulky extra layer, something to keep people warm, something that'll go to good use, something that will be appreciated, it's something that can be easily packaged or donated or something. And what yarn would I use for those? Possibly, oh god, this is such a tough one. Most of the time for different accessories, I'll use either Lion Brand Heartland, or, gosh, it's hard to tell. Sorry, my ears itchy. That means somebody's talking about me. You ever get that sometimes? Your ears itchy. It's like, oh, who's talking about me? I work in a factory, so it could be anybody. It would have to be a worsted weight, so maybe Lion Brand Heartland, because it's got some really cool color effects. It's got some great colors. They're solid colors, and they're absolutely beautiful. What else can I got this wall of yarn behind me, and I'm going, what yarn do I pick? Yeah. I would definitely say Heartland for sure. As for crochet, what would I crochet for the rest of my life? Shawls. Everybody can use a shawl. It's a little known thing. A few years ago, I read about something called the Prayer Shawl Ministry. Now, my religion is, I'm a pagan, have been for over 30 years, but I recognize that sometimes there is a need for a comforting layer when somebody is going through something life-changing or going through, you know, something of a sad event, or, you know, you lose somebody that you love, somebody that you know passes away, and you sort of need that extra comfort. So I started knitting comfort shawls years ago, and then, as I said last year, I picked up crochet and I started crocheting shawls. I think in 2016 I made and gave away somewhere between 12 to 16. Now I know that's knitting, but now that I'm crocheting, I've been giving away more crochet shawls, because like I said, I may not share the same religion as everybody around me, but that's not going to stop me from making something that somebody may not be asking for, but could still use at a time of need. Even last year, I made a shawl for my friend Paige, whose mom was a near and dear friend of mine, and she unfortunately lost her battle with lymphoma last year. So it was a hard time, especially with the hospital being closed down to visitors because of COVID. She couldn't even go in to see her mom to say goodbye. So I made her this shawl. Now it was in late spring, early summer, so it was a little warm, and I did make it a little heavy, but she said she loved it, and just kind of curls up with it once in a while. So it's a nice comforting layer to have. You know, it's like a hug when you need one. You know what I mean? So I still, oh, my light's playing with levels again. We've been having some fun things with lights going on and off in the apartment. I'm pretty sure that one of mine, or either mine or my husband's dad's, are kind of hovering around playing with the electric stuff. Yeah, they're playing with the electricity. But yeah, I would crochet shawls, and if I needed to, I would donate them as a prayer shawl or comfort shawl, meditation shawl, whatever you want to call it. That is what I would crochet for the rest of my life if I had to do one thing. Oh my goodness. And I would probably use, pardon the reach, Karen cakes or Karen skinny cakes, because I mean we've talked about these before. Karen makes some great different like colorways in their cakes or skinny cakes. This is one called Sweet Mints. I think it was a discontinued color, whatever, but it's got some great yardage to it. And I believe it is machine washable and dryable, so it's laundry friendly. Get back in there. The yardage is fantastic. The color scheme, the colorways are beautiful. So I'd probably use that. And again, because it's crochet, it would go a lot quicker. So that's it. Those are my 10 questions. I've blathered long enough. It's been just over 25 minutes. For 10 questions, I seem to take a long time to answer them. But hopefully you learned something new about me. Hopefully I answered some of your questions. And yeah, now it's time for me to tag some people. So I am now going to tag Kerri, my friend Kerri. She's also known as Scary Kerri. She's a lovely goth girl. She's in Cambridge. She has a YouTube channel here called The Spinning Spider. She spins and dyes her own wool. She even has a video on how to spin and dye your yarn like an indie pro. And she's just a fabulous, like she's got so much creative energy. It's incredible. Every time she does a show, I always buy something of hers because I love using her yarn. She's amazing. She makes a lot of cool art yarns. I'm now doing up something she, I think it was last summer, she had a little mini skein set of superwash merino in really cool like grays and greens and purples, and she called it her Beetlejuice collection. Guess who bought it? I'm using it now for like a nice skinny scarf. I'll show you when I'm done. But I'm going to tag Kerri at the Spinning Spider. So Kerri, tag, you're it. I'm also going to tag my friend Mary. Mary has a channel called Mourning. She is, again, another lovely goth lady. She lives here in Guelph with her husband and son and their doggies, and she is an absolute sweetheart. She knits, she crochets, she sews. She is a fellow pagan like myself. I don't know if she would use the word pagan. Mary, please correct me if I'm wrong. I know you're in the same eccentric family as I am. Her channel is called Mourning. She has a lot of different like cool tutorials, clothing hauls, something for everybody. So Mary, tag, you're it. And I know that there have been there was a video that Fiber Spider commented on. I think it was my Mary Maxim haul. If he's out there and he's watching, I would love to see his answers for these questions because he is a phenomenal fiber addict as well. And I really admire the work that he does, and I love his tutorials. So tag your it, but if you can't do it, I understand. Or if he's already been tagged a few gazillion times, I completely understand. And for those of you out there that are watching that maybe don't have a YouTube channel, feel free to drop in the comments down below what your answers will be. I will post the questions down below in the little description box, so you can answer them too if you wish, or not. It's completely up to you. But yeah, it would be kind of cool to see everybody's answers, how, you know, one thinks of different fiber-based projects and whatnot. Yeah, and then everybody can play along. And if I didn't tag you, but you do have a channel, jump in, join the fun. These are some really weird times, and let's, you know, try to make them as fun as possible and as interactive as possible. Once again, I want to thank Krystal the Yarny Chicken and Crazy Cat Lady for tagging me and getting me involved in this. I'm grateful to be welcomed into this community as enthusiastically as you have welcomed me. And I would love to see the feedback on this, see what everybody else's answers are. As I've already said, I think that's it for now. I gotta finish getting ready for work. It is Friday afternoon, and I really don't want to go into work today, but I have to. So, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I appreciate the positive feedback. Please click the subscribe button down there. And, yeah, please drop a comment down below. Let me know what you're working on now, too. We got a change in seasons happening. It's starting to get a little warmer up here. I'd love to hear what you folks are working on. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks for listening to me blather for the past half hour. Take care. Stay safe. Keep making cool stuff. And let's hang out again sometime. All right. Thank you. Bye.